Hello. All right, I have 5 p.m. We will go ahead and call the meeting to order. I do see that we have Dr. Jeffries, Director Halverson, Director Johnston, and Director Stoffer here. Also Superintendent Zook, thank you for being here. We will start with item 1.02, Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. Do want to mention virtual meeting guidelines. It's a virtual meeting. It is open to the public and the meeting is recorded. You can listen to all past board meetings by visiting board docs through our district website. And this meeting is being presented via Zoom. It is not appropriate for audience members to interrupt board business or ask questions during the meeting. And that brings us to our vision and mission statements. Our vision: our community inspires and prepares each student to thrive. And our mission: in connection with our community, the Sequim School District empowers staff to inspire hope and provide flexible, innovative learning opportunities in a safe and respectful environment so each student thrives. Item 1.05, the acknowledgement of the land we stand on. The Sequim School District administrative and school buildings sit on the ancestral land of the S'Klallam people. While the S'Klallam traditionally come from one nation, history has led to the formation of 3 sovereign S'Klallam tribal governments: the Lower Elwha S'Klallam tribe located in Port Angeles, Washington, the Jamestown S'Klallam tribe located in Sequim, Washington, and the Port Gamble S'Klallam tribe located in Kingston, Washington. The district's primary partnership is with the Jamestown S'Klallam tribe. Today, the tribe and district share a partnership that includes official consultation on program and funding changes that may directly affect American Indian and Alaskan Native students, as well as holistic service planning for students to remain successful in their educational journeys. And that brings us to 2.01, agenda-specific public comments. So with public comment, I do want to mention it is not appropriate for complaints or charges about employees to be mentioned during public comment. These issues should be addressed to the superintendent in writing. The board, superintendent, or district personnel typically do not engage in direct conversation or feedback during the meeting. Questions or comments for those addressing the board may be referred to staff for follow-up at a later date if needed. In this case, the board action and discussion is limited to previously published agenda topics, and in this case, public comment is also limited to the agenda topic at hand. So please, I would ask that please folks keep it to the actual agenda topic. We just have one agenda topic this evening, the which is under board business 3.01. Also, I do want to point out there have been at times where folks will either identify directly individuals, staff members of the district, or by virtue of their position being the small district that we are, sometimes can identify individuals specifically through their position or through other measures. And I would strongly recommend that not be done at a public meeting, simply because it's not the appropriate venue for that type of complaint. That does need to be, if it's complaints or concerns about employees specifically, it should be taken directly to the superintendent. So I would definitely ask for folks' understanding with that specifically. So with that, for virtual public comments, you can signify that you would like to make a public comment by raising your hand, and you will be unmuted when it's your turn to speak. We will do our best to call on you based on the order that your hand was raised. Commenters are allowed audio privileges, and you'll please state your name and address and affiliation with speaking. Again, you will have 3 minutes of time to speak. And with that, there will be a timer up for those 3 minutes. And I do see a hand up, Ms. Younger. You are welcome to, should be able to unmute, and you may speak.
Okay, thank you.
Mhm.
School board directors, you are fiscally responsible for this school district. I want to publicly say that this resolution will cost the district far more in a lawsuit for retaliation of a whistleblower. You are out allowing Lorraine to send this district down a very dark financial path. I guarantee you that the person most excited about this resolution is Jennifer Mon's attorney. Jim, you always say, let the lawyers handle it. At what point do several lawsuits your attorney has put you in end? When the district is bankrupt? Allowing your lawyers to handle it is burying your head in the sand. I call on the elected school board to pay more attention to the path your attorney is sending you down. Thank you.
Okay, and next thing, if we have any additional speakers wishing to make public comment. Again, reminder, if you would like to make public comment, please do so by raising your hand, which should be on the lower part of your Zoom screen. Okay, seeing none, we'll close that portion of the meeting. And that brings us to board business 3.01, the resolution. Before I ask for a motion, I would like to ask Superintendent Zook, do you want to speak on this first?
Yes, thank you, President Pickens. I am bringing this RIF resolution for your consideration this evening, and it's driven by a serious financial need. While we never want to reduce staff that provide our educational programs to students, it has become apparent that the reduction in the enrollment in the district of around 240 students and the funding loss for those students of over $2 million requires the district to face the reality that staff reductions must be made to maintain financial stability. The prospect for the 22-23 school year is even more challenging because we will use our remaining ESSER funds this year to balance the budget. But if enrollment does not return to pre-COVID levels, it will be necessary to reduce the expenditures by an additional $4 million for the 22-23 school year. I'm grateful to the ESD and to Darlene for putting this financial information together, because it allows for us to make conscious and wise decisions about what needs to be done. I know that your decision tonight weighs heavy on your minds. It's heavy lifting and painful work required by the board to assure that the district maintains its solvency and its financial stability. So I'm happy to answer any questions at any point if you have any about the resolution that is in front of you this evening. Thank you.
Thank you, Superintendent Zook. I am happy to either, we can, if somebody would like to make a motion, we can make a motion, and then we would then either have opportunity to speak for or against, or with questions, of course. Director Stoffer.
Yes, Mr. Chair, motion that for approval of this resolution.
Thank you. Do we have a second?
I'll second.
Thank you, Director Jeffries. It's been moved and seconded. Do we now time for discussion or questions? Director Stoffer.
Yes, I appreciate the cabinet's work and Joan's work and our workshop that we had on Wednesday with ESD. And we are not the only district. All 295 districts in the state of Washington are in this process right now. And at the end of the day, our enrollment is down 265 students from that 2019 2020 school year, the BC, the before COVID. And it is prudent for us to take some steps and to look forward into the remaining years. We truly don't know at this point if our enrollments will come back. There's a lot of just unknowns out there of where those students are or are not. And this is where we're at. And I appreciate again the work that and the discussion that we had on Wednesday at our workshop. And I'm prepared to move forward with a vote when it comes time. Thank you.
Thank you. Director Jeffries.
Yeah, this is a kind of a two-parter. Maybe Superintendent Zook or one of the cabinet members could help us out. Number one, this RIF move, which on the resolution tonight would save us or be a savings in expenditures of about how much? Because and then number two, I assume there's other, there'll be other expenditure savings on the table coming up. I don't think tonight's, we're going into detail about that, but just maybe a brief overview or a plan of that presentation as well, coming down the road. Thank you.
Thank you. Superintendent Zook, I don't know if, and I see Darlene is on the call as well, if you can speak to what the question regarding dollar amount, if we have a rough idea.
Sorry, I would defer to Darlene if she's prepared to answer that question, just because she works with the numbers all day long and is better at them than I am. So,
Darlene, are you available?
I am, but I do not have those numbers in front of me. Right now, I'm not at my office. So I do not. So it would be, I'm not looking at the resolution, but it would be a 0.5 principal position. 5.5 FTE of certificated staff. And I'm not sure where they were as far as like their years and experience. I don't have that in front of me. And then the 1.0 assistant superintendent position. So I can't answer a dollar amount on that at this time. I'm so sorry. I did not have those figures with me when I came home.
I do think that was, and I think it was available for the public to see as well. I believe there was a figure that was calculated in the budget presentation that was on the 4th as well. So yeah, so thank you. And I think Director Jeffries, your second question was just more about next steps.
More budget savings beyond this RIF are probably in the works. Is that correct?
yes, if I may speak to that. We have not completed that work yet for classified positions specifically. This is what we're bringing to you today on the 15th because of the requirements for notification of certificated staff. So we will continue to work and identify where there will be other savings. We have already identified several positions that are vacant that will likely go unfilled in the classified ranks, and we'll continue to do our staff work with principals and cabinet to see where there may be additional classified savings. So thank you for your question. And I apologize for not having that number at my fingertips, Director Jeffries and board.
Right. Well, I was thinking also cuts to the budget beyond staffing that might be in order to, I mean, we have a significant amount of money to cut over the next 2 budgets, actually. But, is there cuts in staff development, cuts in transportation, cuts in other places that we don't want to make, but we may have to, or is that in the works?
That, if I may respond, that kind of work is ongoing here as we go. That, the budget will be developed by mid-July. And as part of that process, as we, like we say, sometimes turn over all the rocks that we can to find dollars, we will. But of course, the primary cost in the district is over 80% of our cost is staff. And around 14% are fixed costs and about 3% stuff, other things. And so that makes it pretty hard, when you start cutting small pieces out of everything. Sometimes you can cut so many off that it can't walk anymore. So, so yes, in answer to your question, that is of course part of the process as we continue to develop the budget. So thank you for asking.
Director Halverson.
I was just going to make a brief comment about that. I appreciated very much, along with Jim, the budget workshop the other night that was so informative. And what I took away from that was just the urgency of this, even with the ESSER funds, et cetera, that are going to be so helpful to us in the short term. That's not a long-term solution, and the long term is coming up any minute. So I appreciate the speed and care that we are attempting to deal with this very urgent budget crisis. Thank you.
Thank you. Director Johnson. You're muted.
Thank you. I just wanted to add, if there's, for any members of the public or anybody else who's listening and isn't familiar with what we're talking about with respect to ESSER dollars, it's an acronym for some federal money that we have received or that has been allocated to our district over the last few years to specifically help us cope with the budget challenges posed by COVID, specifically enrollment reduction for all the various reasons that that have happened over the last couple of years, and but that those federal dollars related to COVID relief are we're basically going to exhaust those next year. There may be a little bit left, but that's why it seems like such a dramatic position that we find ourselves in now, because we have had some of that money that has given us the opportunity to address some budget challenges without making the kind of cuts that we otherwise would have had to make. But now we're in the position where those dollars that we have had to sort of bridge the gap are not going to be there. And I think we're all really hopeful that enrollment will rebound. Nobody wants to find ourselves in this position, but there's simply at some point you just have to look at the reality, and our job is to maintain a fiscally sound district. And so I'm very grateful for the work that Superintendent Zook and Darlene and other members of the staff have done. And like I said, the help that we got from the ESD to give us some guidance on how best to use the ESSER funds that are available to us now. And I think everybody has really made their absolute best effort to minimize the effects of our funding challenges, but we're now here, and we're now at a time where we have to deal with our immediate issues, and then, as Director Jeffrey says, our issues. We have to be forecasting into the future, and further hard discussion is ahead based on the forecasts that we're looking at. So I just want to make sure that everybody understood what that, discussion of ESSER funding was about, and why it has been helpful till now, but we have to plan for those funds not being available to us in the future. So thank you to everyone who has done this work, and I'm prepared to go forward. Thank you.
Thank you. And I will just add, it's certainly a difficult decision, and I appreciate the deliberate work that was done to also consider how we can balance the impact, particularly adjustments that could be made even over the next school year, even though, yes, we'll have to make those hard decisions, but we also have significant needs in the classroom. And I know there were some very intentional efforts made to make sure that we could still to minimize minimize the impact of the classroom, those working closest to the classroom specifically. And I want to thank the cabinet and Superintendent Zip for making that intentional effort. And I share in the optimism of my colleagues regarding where we'll go from here, but definitely adjustments sometimes have to be made. And I'm also I am prepared to support this motion. So with that, do we have any other discussion before we call the vote? Seeing none, I'll go ahead and ask, we'll go ahead and do a roll call vote for this, and I'll ask Tracy to call the roll.
Thank you, President Pickens. Director Halverson, how do you vote?
Yes.
Vice President Johnston, how do you vote?
Yes.
Director Jeffries, how do you vote?
Yes.
Director Stoffer, how do you vote?
Yes.
And President Pickens, how do you vote?
Yes.
Thank you. The vote is unanimous for the RIF resolution.
Right. And that is our final agenda item for this portion of the meeting. And we will be recessing into executive session. Thank you and have a good night.